Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says deportation flights have started leaving the so-called Alligator Alcatraz facility. There were 100 detainees on the first flights. It's unclear where they're going.
It was never intended to be something where people are just held and we just kind of twiddle our thumbs. The whole purpose is to make this be a place that can facilitate increased frequency and numbers of deportations of illegal aliens.
In the sweltering swamps of South Florida, just miles from where tourists pose with baby gators and pastel airboats skim across murky waters, sits a prison unlike anything America's ever seen. Surrounded by a man-made moat filled with real, living alligators, this newly constructed facility has been dubbed by locals and even some officials as Alligator Alcatraz. But here's the catch. It's not the reptiles that have human rights groups up in arms. It's who's being locked up. Inside, hundreds of detainees, many of them undocumented immigrants, are held in near isolation waiting for deportation or court dates that may never come. What was pitched as a high-security, low-cost solution to rising immigration numbers has become a lightning rod of controversy. And the most unbelievable part? This alligator-filled stronghold was pushed through with barely a whisper from the media until now. But to understand why this prison is rattling the nation, we have to start with the first surprising fact. 1. The prison is literally surrounded by alligators. No exaggeration. The facility's most infamous feature is its 4-foot wide water-filled moat stocked with dozens of live alligators. Officials say it's a natural deterrent, a way to keep escape attempts low without the need for excessive guards or barbed wire. The moat is constantly monitored, and gators are brought in from local wildlife partners on a rotational basis. Critics call it inhumane. Supporters call it genius. One state lawmaker even said, "It's Florida. What else would you expect?" But the swampy setup is just the surface, because what's inside the prison is even more controversial. 2. It was quietly approved through emergency funding. Alligator Alcatraz wasn't built through a standard legislative process. Instead, it was funded through an emergency state security provision that bypassed typical voting channels. The rationale? A surge in undocumented immigrants, particularly across the southern corridor of Florida. Officials claimed existing detention centers were full, but by sliding this project under an urgent infrastructure clause, construction began with minimal oversight or public input. And once construction started, something odd happened. Reporters couldn't get inside, which brings us to the next bombshell. 3. Journalists are banned from visiting. Unlike most federal or state correctional facilities, Alligator Alcatraz enforces a total media blackout. No outside press has been allowed beyond the first security gate. Even Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, requests about the number of detainees, facility funding, and internal operations have been delayed or denied entirely. One investigative journalist from a Miami outlet said, "We've been able to film inside Guantanamo Bay, but not here? That's alarming. What are they hiding?" That question leads directly into the next eyebrow-raising fact. 4. Detainees are mostly immigrants awaiting trial, not convicted criminals. Despite the facility's prison-like exterior, most of the people locked inside haven't been convicted of a crime. Many are asylum seekers or undocumented migrants caught during workplace raids or routine traffic stops. Some have no criminal history at all. They're simply waiting for a court hearing, one that might be scheduled months or even years into the future. Advocates argue that locking up non-violent, non-convicted individuals in a facility this harsh violates basic due process. Officials, on the other hand, argue that it's temporary holding. 5. There's no air conditioning in certain parts of the facility. Florida. Summer. Steel buildings. And in parts of the prison specifically, the older converted units brought in during expansion, there's no air conditioning at all. Several whistleblower reports suggest that during peak heat waves, temperatures inside some holding areas reach over 100 degrees. That's with detainees reportedly given only 2 cups of water per day and minimal shade during outdoor time. 6. It's run by a private security corporation, not the state. Despite its location and name, Alligator Alcatraz Alcatraz isn't officially run by the state of Florida. It's operated by a private prison contractor known as Stratacore Solutions, a name barely anyone had heard of before 2023. Stratacore won the bid by promising low operating costs and high security using natural resources like the moat, but records show they've already received more than $112 million in state reimbursements, all while avoiding traditional prison standards. And guess who sits on Stratacore's advisory board? Two former Florida state legislators who helped approve the emergency funding clause. This isn't just a prison story, it's a business story. 7. Detainees are put to work for less than $1 per hour. Inside Alligator Alcatraz, detainees reportedly take on roles from janitorial work to kitchen prep to groundskeeping, including maintaining the alligator moat itself. In return, they're paid anywhere from $0.16 to $0.74 per hour. 8. The alligators are a tourist attraction, but only for VIPs. While everyday citizens and journalists are kept far from the facility, certain VIP guests, including donors, lawmakers, and foreign investors, are reportedly given private tours of the Gator Moat as part of a security showcase. In one leaked memo, Stratacore called it a live demonstration of Florida deterrence. Yes, really, it's part spectacle, part sales pitch, and it's helping to inspire similar projects in Texas and Arizona, according to early planning documents. But Florida's version already has an even more secretive side. 9. There's a separate unit inside called Unit Delta, and almost no one knows who's in it. Rumors about Unit Delta have been swirling since late 2024. It's said to be an isolated wing of the prison, double-gated, with zero access to recreation. 10. Local residents are being paid to stay silent. In nearby towns like Everglades and South Bay, residents reported receiving small monthly stipends, about $300 from a community outreach program. One former city council member called it hush money with a smile. But it gets even weirder when you realize what's happening right outside the gates. 11. Drones fly overhead every night and no one knows who controls them. Residents have reported fleets of small drones flying over the facility nearly every night around 3 a.m., sometimes in synchronized formations. Stratacore denies they operate any night drones, and the FAA says they haven't approved flight plans for that airspace. Some suspect it's advanced surveillance testing. Others think it's AI-powered security. A few even believe the drones are armed. Whatever they are, they've added another layer of mystery to a place already buried in it. 12. The facility may expand into a network of 5 more eco-prisons across the South. According to leaked blueprints obtained by a whistleblower, Alligator Alcatraz is just phase 1 of a 5-part expansion plan. Each facility is proposed to include environmentally integrated deterrence features, which could mean anything from scorpion pits in Arizona to rattlesnake canyons in West Texas. Florida's already locked in $60 million in matching funds for the next phase, codenamed Project Detain South. In other words, this might not be a one-time experiment. It could be the beginning of a new era in incarceration, one that blends nature with containment in ways never before seen. Conclusion: what started as a temporary immigration solution has morphed into something far more dystopian, a private, unregulated fortress patrolled by alligators, drones, and secrets. Alligator Alcatraz might look like something out of a Hollywood script, but for the people trapped inside many, without trial, without charges, and without hope, it's become a real-life nightmare. The question now isn't just whether this place should exist. It's whether we're okay with the kind of world it signals we're building next.